Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays offside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benny. Sills.
Hello and welcome to this latest Goals Eye View. We've got two very special guests this week. We've got Bob Cole, Deputy Chair at the Tust, and then we've also got the great Paul Hearn is joining us. So obviously, Bob, what an amazing few weeks, as we know, for the Tust. And you're just going to talk through just about also the great news that most of us will be aware of, the number and a few bits around that. So go for it. Obviously, confirm the news so we can all know this week.
Yeah, I say, well, nice to see you all. Thanks for having me on. It's been amazing. I mean, it's what we've raised with online and offline payments over £222,000. I think it's a testament to Gull'S fans. It's, Tust has organised it, but it's the Yellow Army that have done that. It has been phenomenal. I must go back a bit and say that when we started off, we were sat around a table and talking about how much we would raise. We obviously had advice. The target was set at 100,000, and we were there. Like Rob Dickinson, I don't know if you know him. He was doing some math, saying, "Well, look, we got this many members, and if so many people put in so much, and all this," and we were saying, well, what if we don't get to 100,000? If we get to 90, can we put in 100 from the Forever Yellow Fund? No, you can't do that. And to get to 100,000 in 4 days was just phenomenal. We were all surprised at how quickly that happened. So that means that we got the second seat on the board, and also, for me, I think one of the most important things is the heritage rights. So things like the club colours can't be the home shirt can't be changed, the colour can't be changed, and most importantly, without the agreement of fans, we can't leave Playmore. And perhaps one day, I don't know, 20 years time, when we're knocking on the door of the championship, people might think perhaps we should leave Playmore. But if we ever do, it would be because the fans had agreed, and I think that's really important. The second seat is really important. We're going to have representation. We got Nick Broderick on the board already. We're going to have another member on the board. If I can just say something about that second seat, we see it as a very important position. That obviously Bryn wants something brought to the table, Tust wants something taken to the table, so it will be seen really as a job, and that we will have a job spec. We'll go out. There'll be an application process. There'll be a shortlist and then interviews. And we've got people on the board who've had experience in appointing, people to organisations before. So that's how it will be done. And when all's said and done, with the other 50,000 we put in from accumulated subs, which has also come from the fans. So it's all about how much fans are put into this share issue. It is 272,000, so knocking on, £250,000. Bryn will have 66.5% of the club. There's historic shareholders, heritage shareholders. Some of them go back to I don't know if he's saying it in jest, but John Gibbs always says Mr. So-and-so who bought his share for £2 in 1922. But there are some of those, and they say I was very pleased that when Bryn was talking about how to buy the club, how to go about it, there was talk of a new company, and which meant all those historic shareholders, they would have lost their their shares. But as it was, the way it's turned out, they bought the existing legal entity, which means they've still got their shares, which I thought was really important. The most important figure there is Tust. When all the money is handed over, will own 28.5% of the club, which is phenomenal when you think we just thought that the best we could ever get was 50%. We're over halfway there. So one important thing I must say. So what are we doing now? When we met on a Zoom on Saturday morning, Matt Gorman said, "Now the work begins." And he wasn't joking. So Monday morning, there was a group of us tallying up investors with the membership list to make sure everybody was members. That's thrown up some anomalies, which I'll talk about in a moment. And there's there's what we need is the definitive list of investors. And emails have been going out today. The club are anxious to know what names people want on the shirt and on the board, the shirt in particular, because they want to get the shirt out as soon as possible for people to buy in the shop. So there's an email gone out asking what name people want on the shirt and on the board. And there's a few discrepancies, things not clear. So some people will get an email asking. So for example, that some people didn't seem to realize that they needed to join Tust. And so one of the things I need to say is please look in your junk mail folders, because some of them have already ended up there. So but we look out for emails that are going out.
Yeah, Dom had
everyone should, that's invested should have had an email today asking for the name that they want on the shirt and the board. And the other thing is, if you've invested for somebody, you've gifted a share, then it's up to the person who's bought the share, not the recipient, to say who wants it, what the name is on the share.
Perfect.
And you do need people to reply, don't you, Bob, to actually reply to that and say what they want.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, because of sort of confidentiality, we can't assume that the name people will invested in simply want it on the shirt. So it means that you can't just transfer the name across. Everyone that wants to be on the shirt and it's going to be called the investor members board at the club. Everybody has to actually specify what they want. So yeah.
Perfect. No, that sounds great. Have you got any questions, you two, before we move on to the next bit?
I have, yeah.
Go for it.
Sorry, Clive. Go on. No, just a couple of things for me, really. I'd just be interested in kind of when the share scheme idea was first mooted and when it was first suggested and when it first came out and the £100,000 target was there. How was that target pitched within members within the Tust and perhaps within the conversations with the club? Was it a fanciful amount and if we get as close as we can, then great? Was it an amount that you thought, yeah, actually, we probably will get that? Or was it a figure that you thought you could get up and above, probably not in 4 days, but was it a figure that was targeted, or was it kind of a bit of a ballpark, finger in the air, see what happens?
Yeah, good question. So we took advice from, there's a chap called Dave Boyle. He runs a community shares company. And so, I mean, just so for example, we thought long and hard over sort of the £250. We know that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That it's not getting away from
it. It is, yeah.
Getting away from it. That's that's a lot of money. But we were advised that was the normal figure for a share.
Right.
If you take two extremes, if we'd set it at £5, then we wouldn't have reached the target. If we'd set it at £5,000, we wouldn't have reached the target. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was and the £100,000 was also something we were advised upon.
Right.
We thought about it. It had to be enough to be meaningful. a meaningful amount to pass on to the club, but it also had to be like achievable. And as I say, we thought we would get there. We thought we would get there, but we thought we would be sort of creeping over the line with days to go sort of thing. One of the factors about that, Chris, is that if we hadn't have reached the 100,000, all the money would have had to gone back to the investors. We don't get
wow. Okay.
We get the money now because we crossed the line. So as soon as we crossed the line, that was the moment for us.
It was guaranteed.
We got the money. We got the second seat. We got the heritage rights. If we hadn't have got to the 100,000, all the money would have been paid back, and that would have been, that would have been
a bit awkward. Yeah. So how surprised were you, and kind of within the board of the Tust, and obviously within the conversations with Mark and Michael within the club, just how surprised were you? Because we all know, because we are among them, what the Torquay fan base is like, and how the supporters are. But just how, kind of, for the people who've invested, and for kind of the people kind of listening to this, just how surprised are the board and Michael and everyone involved in this? Just the actual amount, because I mean, 272,000, you just said that, that's more than £250,000 for a sixth-tier football club. When you say it in the numbers, I wrote them down just to kind of digest them. I was like, that is that's extraordinary.
Yeah. I mean, we are flabbergasted. I mean, it's still. I was talking to Sam last night about we've had pinch yourself moments.
Yeah.
And that is one of them. When you say that amount out loud, more than £250,000 for fans to give to their football club. I mean, what we've owed. I mean, in the local paper, Paul Watton was saying how amazing it was. We had a really nice message from Michael Westcott. We have been, we're chuffed. We're chuffed.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
We didn't think that we would get to. So when it went over the 100, we thought, well, perhaps we get to 150, and then it just sort of went up.
Kept going.
And then when it got to Friday night, we were all there. So will we get to 200?
200,
There's been competitions online to guess the final amount. Not many people got close. I mean, what I love about it is that it's not passing buckets around to save the club, is it? People have actually seen what's being built there again, and what the club already is now. Hopefully, what it can be, and it is an investment in the future. Nobody's expecting to get their money back, but it's an investment in the club, and it's been a wonderful thing.
I think, as I say, it's a testament to the love that Gull'S fans have for the club, but it also shows the trust that the fans have in the Bryn Consortium and Tust. I mean,
definitely.
If we were asked for a sum of money by the previous regime, and we said no. I won't go into reasons why, but you can guess.
But we can add up.
that was on the Thursday morning, wasn't it? I heard that the Trust was asked for £60,000 that day to help pay some creditors. It's funny, isn't it? Because they wouldn't give you the time of day until that.
So they wanted the cash.
That's exactly right, Clive. I mean, I'm just going to say this and then move on, but they treated us like something you have on the bottom of your shoe, and then they expected us to give them £60,000. But the point is that, from the first time we met Michael Westcott, he came to a Tust board meeting. So, I mean, the story is that he approached Nick Broderick 4 days after we went into the announcement of going into administration. He came to a board meeting, and here was a chap who has obviously been successful in business, He wanted to help the club. He's a true, there's no doubting that he is a true fan. And he wanted to work with Tust, and we just like, is this guy, is he too good to be true? And then, sort of, I think it was Matt Gorman went on, quickly did a few searches and went, oh, wow, and
Googled him. Who is this fella?
yeah,
we all did, didn't we?
and
yeah,
we trust. We trust the Bring Consortium. It's not just Mark, is it? It's Mark Bose-Kavanagh and
all of them are
Simon
great.
Robinson
All of them are
guys,
great.
yeah.
I mean, we trust them, and obviously Gull'S fans trust them as well. And you only had to listen to the last chairman's chat when, Michael and Mark are talking about what needs to be done. He said that we need to put LED floodlights in because when a bulb goes, it's 680 quid. So it's all about making that money will be used either on the field to bolster the team, or make the job of the club being sustainable more achievable. Just things. I mean, what was it? What was the other? Oh, the scoreboard. I mean, if the scoreboard's updated, then it can be used for advertising. So that's a source of revenue.
It was originally. It even showed the game years ago, didn't it? Which I don't really want now. But I was gonna say you don't get if you go to any club, it's like this corner wants to buy, so it's just what it needs. So yeah. Clive, you got any other questions at all? Or
I was just gonna ask you, Bob, I think you're looking for a bit of help with the election process, aren't you? And there are board elections coming up. I don't know if you wanted to tell people a bit about all that.
So our AGM is in November. I think it's the 28th. So the paper up to since I've been on the board, there's always been more seats than have been wanting to do it. So we've never had to have an election. I think it's going to change now. So we've got an election management committee of 3 people. We've appointed the 3rd person today.
Oh, good.
And so the papers will go out. There'll be an election process, and then we'll use an online platform for people to be able to vote, and the result will be announced at the AGM in November. I'm not up for re-election. Luckily, I think.
I say, can you envisage kind of just how much interest there will be, and why should it be Clive?
Hey, steady on.
I honestly don't know how much interest that will be. I've thought all along. So we're no longer, Tust is no longer a group with 400 members meeting in the back room of a pub.
Yeah,
we're now investors in a football club, and that's a whole change for us. I mean, hopefully we will still meet in the back room of the pub because we have a nice meal and a drink before the meeting, and it makes it a nice social, and we can talk about on-field matters before we actually get down to the nitty-gritty. So we're aware that this is going to be a proper election, and we're expecting more candidates than there are seats.
Nice, lovely stuff. Well, there we are. Unless there's anything else you want to say.
AGM is at Plainmoor, Bob, isn't it?
Sorry, Clive.
Sorry, the AGM is at Plainmoor. I see, isn't it? Which is good.
Yeah, I mean, that's another sort of. It's not a picture stump because we would have expected it, but when you think for the last, I don't know, 3 years, definitely 2 years, 3 years, it's been at Torquay Rugby Club.
Yeah,
because we couldn't hold it at the club, and now the club is saying to us, we've got the Gull'S Nest, we've got the Cove. Where do you want a bar? We're going to have how many pasties you want? It's great. It's great. I mean, it's just the whole, as we all know, that it's just been a complete change at the club, and
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's literally incredible. It's so much so soon, almost in a way. You almost don't accept it how good it is.
Yeah.
It's only when we're about
I think as well we've said before, haven't we, Sam, on here, and we said it when we were at the club the other week, that if you'd have said kind of the day you went to administration, picture the perfect future, tell me what it looks like.
I mean, Bob said this the other night, didn't we? We were saying
we'd have kind of pictured this local businessman, fans, people that care, successful businessmen, fans involvement, ownership. And you wouldn't have thought, you'd have thought, all right, still steady on. You weren't going to get that, but it couldn't, and who knows, the success on the pitch is what needs to follow next, isn't it? But as they've talked about, a sustainable club is the start, and then what happens on the pitch has to follow.
I was saying this because I've said this to other people as well, and we've said it amongst ourselves on the Tust board that we had a strategy group where we were planning for what would happen when Clark Osborne left, and the worst case scenario was a Phoenix club, and we were actively planning for that. But we also talked about what a best case scenario might look like.
Yeah.
And it was nowhere near this. This is beyond our wildest dreams.
Wow, interesting.
It is. I mean, we because the thing was, we never thought there was ever going to be a white knight out there that was going to come and save the club. And we thought that if ever was, then how do you know that white knight isn't another Clark Osborne and wants to buy
Chris Roberts
to make money out of it? I mean, we've got true fans, and they are here, and they're successful. They're applying their business acumen to running the club, and it's for no personal gain or benefit. They want to do it for the club because they are true fans, and I think that's one of the the best things that has happened. We couldn't have wished for this. I say when we met Michael, he was too good to be true, but he is real.
It's amazing, and the future is real, and the future is very, very bright for all of us. I know it's been a kind of a frustrating few weeks on the pitch, but that's going to happen. It's football, but and it doesn't. This is almost like great timing, all of that sort of final numbers to really show actually where we're going with it all. And yes, good luck with everything. I think, and we've got everything. That's amazing, Bob. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, great job. Thank you, to everyone obviously watching this, and we'll be bringing in Paul
for having me.
Cheers.
Thank you, Bob.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Bob.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.